Dear community members, Shabbat Shalom and Purim Sameach. In Yerushalayim, we're reading tomorrow on Shabbos the laning, the Kriyas Torah of Purim, about the wicked attack of Amalek on the people of Israel when they were going out of Egypt, and we'll read in the Torah again 2 weeks in a row, just like last Shabbos. We're going to read about the war of Amelech Shaul, King Saul, with Amalek. Now, it's interesting. Shaul was fighting with the king Agag. Haman is called in the Megillah Haman HaAgagi. Indeed, we see that the Torah, we read it, last week we read about the importance to remember the deeds of Amalek. This week we're reading about the actual deeds of Amalek. And the question is, why is it so important to remember? What's the message for us? I think the Torah understands that it's very, very hard for us to contain, to acknowledge the fact that there's evilness in the world. We always say, no, it's not really evil, it's just interest, or it's just deprivation, or whatever. And we need to realize that there is evilness in the world. Furthermore, I dare to say there is evilness within, deep inside, within each one of us that we need to cope with, and we need to educate, and we need to fight with. What is the root of this evilness? Well, Haman HaAgagi, we see something very interesting regarding him. He is the richest man in the world. He is the richest man in 127 states. He controls the king. He is missing nothing in his life. And yet, he says, all of this is not worth, I heard this from Rabbi Arush, all of this is not worth anything when I see Mordechai not bowing to me. What a poor man is Haman, that just because something is not complete, then it's as if there is nothing. And it's all because of his egocentricity, his ego. It's all about the ego. Mordechai refuses to bow to him. That ruins everything. Moshe, in contrast, is described in the Torah as the most modest man on earth. And in our Parsha, Parashat Tetzaveh, we see this because Moshe is not mentioned in our Parsha. He's willing to remove himself from the entire Torah. That's what he says to Hashem, just that he will forgive the people of Israel after the sin of the golden calf. So we see here the two contrasts. Haman, the most egocentric, the one that with the biggest ego in the world, and Moshe, the most modest man in the world. And this is the root. This ego of Haman is the root of all evilness. The sin of Adam Arishon, one of the roots of it is V'yitem Kelohim, is that the snake tells Adam, and you shall be like gods. So if we will put these two, one against the other, Moshe with the Ve'atat Tetzaveh, when Moshe is not mentioned, and Haman, and Moshe and the content of the parsha of lighting the menorah, the light of the menorah, et ha'or kitov, this goodness, the goodness against the evilness that is stemming, that originates from the human being not seeing himself as obligated to values, not seeing himself as shiviti Hashem lenegdi tamid, as standing in front of God, but rather, I am the one and I control everything, which is the root of evilness. If we will internalize this message, then Bezrat Hashem, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, will do v'nahafochu, and everything will turn to the good. Shabbat Shalom and Purim Sameach.